Hi, this is Frank Rodriguez Villela, and I'm glad that we're continuing these classes. And I just wanted to let you know that I've done this in the past, and it's going to be a repeat for some people if they're tuning in again. But it's always good to reviewing the foundation and where everything is on guitar is very important. I really want to talk about how this guitar is strung. I have a little chart here, and basically the sixth string here is this note here, or this string actually. So you have 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then you have 1. So 1 is on the bottom. So it's always crazy. I always ask people, well, what do you think the first string is? 8 out of 10 times people will say this is 1, but it's actually 6. So it's the sixth string. Sixth string is the lowest string, and it's the first string that we actually come in contact with as far as where our hand is in the positioning. That's why positioning is also important. So, again, if you saw the first video, you sort of understand the important thing of that the wrist is going to hit that string. Okay, so we have basically, this is the E, A, D, G, B, and then E. Now going back upwards, here's the E. 1 is E, 2 is B, 3 is G, 4 is D, 5 is A, and then E, 6 is E. So you have 2 E's. You have a high E, and you have a low E. So that's sort of nice. It's sort of like, it repeats itself there. So that's sort of cool. Now, one of the things when I'm playing the instrument, I really I'm going to strike, and I call it sounding or striking the strings, and I'm always going to go towards the right below the hole, right below the sound hole, which is here. I sort of like that sound, no matter, even if I use the pick, if I use my fingers, I like to be right around there. If I'm too much, if I play here, it tends to be a looser sound, and it's harder to control here. Here it seems to have the right resistance, and it just feels really comfortable. It has a particular feel hitting there. The sound changes too, so this is probably a good starting place. This is basically, if you want a brighter sound, then you would just go closer to the bridge. Remember, this is the bridge. So the bridge, you get a higher, tenor, brighter sound. So it's sort of cool. I like that sound. It's basically, a little bit for the soloing type of stuff, but it's definitely a different, more brilliant sound. As you get up here, we call it probably more of a mellow sound. So it's sort of actually really nice, but I'd say we do that later on. That's for controlling the tone and the sound of the instrument. I would say for right now, right in the middle or right below the actual sound hole, which to me, I'm looking at it the middle of here. So it looks like towards the middle here of this area. Say right below the sound hole. That's the best way to look at it. All right, so when it comes down to it, I really just sort of focus on open string studies. The open strings are, we're not going to use the left hand right now at all. Where the first couple of lessons of us playing, it's just really getting a feel for where the strings are. And the strings, definitely, you got to know where they are. You got to know that on most instruments, they're all spaced out about the same. So there's not much difference unless it's a really, really small guitar, or it's a very, very large guitar. But the scale and the way they're put together, they're pretty universal. So you don't have to worry too much about differences with different guitars, even electrics. So I talk about electrics too. So if you decide to use an electric, that's cool. Okay, so we have the open strings, so we're going to focus on the positioning, and especially if you have a nice acoustic guitar or even electric, as long as the arm is back here, it's coming down. And it's actually what I do. I tell people I do this. I make sure this is where my support is. My support is in the back section. This is where it sort of, I anchor this forearm here, okay? The back arm, or inside of the arm. Then I bring it down. Once I bring it down, I don't bring it all the way down like this. I actually stop maybe about 2.5, 3 inches, and then I drop it and I do this. That particular is a little arc on the wrist, which is a very crucial thing, because that's what's going to actually control the motion of the hand when it sounds the string. When it strikes the string or sounds it, or technically it's almost like a strumming. That's the feel that it is, but it's actually that little wrist that makes that. That's not the only way to play. People, you know, people that might play electric guitar, they tend to do a lot of this kind of stuff where they hold their fingers here. But when you do that, then you're sort of reaching over the strings. You're doing this. So you don't want to do that. You want to be over the strings. This is sort of like, I always explain it as I guess they're called back diggers. There's these construction trucks where the operator of the machinery is here in the back. He's in a nice little cabin, and he's actually, he's controlling all the levers, and then he's operating this little, sometimes, yeah, it's like a shovel, or sometimes they're diggers or like claw looking things, and the actual motion is just the wrist moving, but the anchor's here, the control in the way it's in the back. That's how I look at it. And so that's going to be a very important feel to get when you play the guitar, when you hold it down and you let this be the part of the hand that controls the strike or the sounding of the strings. And so it doesn't matter if you use a pick or not, you know. So this particular lesson will be for both, if you want to use a pick or if you don't. I know there's a lot of people that like the picks and a lot of people that don't like the picks, and some people that like to use your thumb, and so all of that's good. You can play the guitar so many different ways. It's not there's not one way to play it. It's not one size doesn't fit all, you know. So I think we have to sort of as a teacher, I always feel that whatever's more comfortable for you. But if you can utilize the wrist, it's going to be a main thing. Always keep the arc, and always keep the arch. Okay, and so now I'm going to talk about the actual what the symbols are for using the actual pick or finger. So I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna turn this around. This is my actual little chart here, and so this is basically, hopefully you can read everything. So when you use a pick, it can be any kind of pick. The pick can be a small pick. It can be a large pick. Doesn't matter. What matters is that it's not too thin in the beginning, because you usually, I say a medium pick is good. Medium is basically 0.75. A lot of people, different companies will actually put the gauge of the pick. So 0.75 is perfect. Anything that gets thinner, it just gets harder to control. So, but some people can control it. It's just, you know, it's again what feels more comfortable. I just recommend a 0.75, or what we call medium pick. And whenever we actually play the guitar, we're doing this. We're picking down. You know, the first basic actual strike is you picking down. Down is this motion when you do this. Now, using a pick, it's sort of interesting because you actually do two things, which is sort of crazy. You hit the string, and then you rest on the string below. You don't really sound it, you just sort of rest there. So technically 6 will rest on 5, 5 on 4, 4 on 3, 3 on 2, 2 on 1, and 1 you sort of gotta break it on your own there. But an interesting thing about that is that it keeps you from moving all over the place. Some people will play like this. They'll go 1. They're always lifting, and that's always a problem because going so high off the instrument makes it tough to come back down and be accurate. But if you keep it nice and close, which when I'm resting, I'm right there. that's a nice little habit to get on guitar. Not only does it actually make it a little less motion and less movement, it actually has a better sound. So if I play something like this, I'm just going to play something simple. And I'm picking up. I'm doing sort of what everybody does in the beginning because they don't want to hit the other string. So again. Now if I do with it resting, it's just more sound. Just overall more sound, maybe a little more tone, a little volume. Sometimes depending on the guitar could be a little more buzz or whatever, but it has an overall bigger sound. So that's sort of cool. So picking down is very important and resting on the string right below it. Hopefully that makes sense. A lot of guys who play, especially like mandolins and, you know, play other instruments that are tiny where they have to alternate. And alternate means down, up, down, up. And in this little chart I have, the downstroke is that little. To me, it looks like a table, and you'll see it in many even if people are not reading music, they'll understand. Oh no, you got a down, down. It's a down, down pick, man. So it's really funny because it's a way people also describe rhythms. So rhythms are described by the motion of how you do the pick. So sometimes people go down, down, up, 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 down, down, up, up, and that's a rhythm strum. Down, down, up, 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 down, down, up, up, up. So it becomes very synonymous with rhythm playing. And so the up motion, or the upstroke is basically a V, and the V equals upstroke. That's when you're using a pick. You know, these are similar markings that an actual violinist will do. You know, they're doing the bow. So it's a down bow, up bow. So it's very interesting. It's very connecting to other instruments, and relating also the pick to other instruments. I think of the pick a little bit like a drummer holds a stick. The drummer, the stick is really important for the drummer. That's where he gets his sound, and he has to feel comfortable with that. We have to feel comfortable with the pick. Same thing, the kind of motions and the kind of things we're going to do are going to be for people using pick. It's going to have to feel that you have control of the pick, that the pick doesn't control you. It's you are in control. And the control of the pick means a lot of stuff. It means speed, means which the speed is not everything, but it means you can play faster, you can play cleaner, you can play louder. So it has a lot of nice little functions once you get this going. Now, if you decide you don't like this and you don't want to try it, then when using fingers, we use the actual method is from a classical method. It's called Pima, and P equals for thumb. So you would use a thumb. I is for index, M is for middle, and then A is for ring. So you basically have P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A. And actually that would be an interesting practice just to do on the open strings. I haven't put anything together for this, but I mean, as far as an exercise on each string, but that would be interesting to go P-I-M-A and then go to the next string, P-I-M-A, 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 P-I-M-A. So they're crazy. You're connecting your brain to each stroke, and I'm just doing it. I did it in quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which we'll talk about it in a little bit. 1, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The thing is, once you do use your fingers, and again, you don't have to use the ring finger. If you don't like using the ring or the middle and you just want to focus on the thumb and the index, that's all right too. The only thing that I feel that's important is that you alternate. And the alternating means that you use one finger and use another. So in this case, say I just want to do the P-I. I'll go P-I, 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 P-I. And that creates a way to sort of play maybe a little faster if you need to, but it makes it a little even, a little more even. If you use just one finger to go like this, you're having to move your whole hand. So it becomes a little bit of a little more work. You don't want to work too hard, right? You want to keep it nice and easy. You don't want to have to, break a sweat. So you basically are alternating, or the other. If you actually don't want to use the P and the I is what I like the best. That's it sort of has a lot of nice features. People will use sort of that alternating thing, and they use it a lot in country music or in blues where you hear the. So it's sort of like the low notes here, and then you have the high notes here. So the thumb is going down, and then the index is going up, down, up, down, up. So it has a real machine-like feel to it, okay? But that's a little bit harder. You actually have to really focus hard on, and your nails got to be, especially the thumbnail has to be nice and thick and in good shape and smooth. So basically you're doing thumb, index, thumb, index, thumb, index. So the thumb motion is down, the index is up. Okay, now if you just don't feel like you want to use your thumb, you can use the index and middle. You can go index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. And you can think of it easier like I am, I am, I am, I am. Really, it's whatever you feel it's easier for you to play. When you play that way, I do the same thing. You know how I actually, when I played with a pick, I sort of hit the 5th string and I rest on 4. So I hit 5, rest on 4. If I do it with fingers, it's almost backwards. I hit 5 and I rest on 6. So index rest, middle will rest on 6. So it looks like this. So it's interesting. It's actually backwards than using a pick. So this way one will rest on 2, then 2 on 3, 3 on 4, 4 on 5, 5 on 6, and then you're sort of stuck 6. You just figure out where you have to break or where the stop is. So that's the important part. I mean, the combinations are pretty incredible. There's a lot of combinations. You pick whatever you feel is best for you. If you feel the thumb is where you're gonna go, then that's cool. No problem. It's just gonna be a little bit more work. Some people that are double jointed have a better feel for it because they can do all kind of cool things with that double joint. So it's interesting. So it's one of those things that it's going to be your choice. You choose whether you want the pick or you choose whether you want to use your fingers. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. I think a good musician or a good guitarist should be able to do both. The only thing is on the nails, they just have to be nice and smooth. I know people get really particular about it. I just say keep the nail maybe a tiny bit above the actual fingertip, the skin. So as long as it's just a little bit above that, or even a little bit below, doesn't matter. Everything will eventually develop callus, so you'll be good. Okay, so now the next thing I'm going to show you is a 3rd sheet, and it's going to be the exercises that we use for actually creating control and timing. Okay, now we're going to talk about and actually perform a little bit of an exercise so we can just get used to where the strings are and get used to how to really strike the strings using your wrist and having that position. Remember, it's an arc, and the actual stroke is where once you start hitting the string, especially with the pick, you're gonna go 6 and rest on 5. But you want a nice feel that you can really that it's a little weight of the wrist and the motion of the hand going down, down. You don't want to force it. You need to, it's almost like a little sweet spot where you can feel, yeah, there it is. So we're gonna do that. Whole notes, half notes, and quarter notes are gonna be downstrokes, so down. And then once we get to the 8th notes, which are the 8th notes, we're gonna do the down, up, down, up. I should have put down up on there, but I wanted you to be able to use, if you don't want to use the actual pick, then you don't have to do it. But in this case, if you're using pick, it'll be down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, and I'll do it both with pick and without pick. Okay, first will be with pick, and I'm gonna do something just a little different. I'll do the 6th string whole note, 5th string whole note, 4th string whole note, 3rd string whole note, 2nd string whole note, and then 1st string whole note, and then we're gonna go back up to the 2nd string, back to the 3rd, then back to the 4th, then back to 5, and then now we'll start next. Instead of doing, this is hopefully it won't be too tricky for you, but what will happen, instead of doing another whole note on the actual 6th string, go 6th string and hit half notes. So it's gonna sound like this. You're gonna go 1st string, then 2nd string, then 3rd string, then 4th string, then 5th string, and then now the half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So that way we won't repeat too much, okay? And it has a little bit of a pattern there. All right, let's try it. Here we go. 6th string. Here's the tempo. 1, 2, ready, 6th string, 2, and then 5. Now 4. Now 3. Now 2. Now 1. Back to 2. Now to 3. Now to 4. Now to 5. Now the half notes. 6th string. 1, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3. Sorry, now 5. Now 4. Now 3. Now 2. Now 1. Back to 2. 3. 4. 5. And on 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and stop. Okay, now I'm gonna do it with the actual just fingers. And for this, I'm gonna go ahead and use the thumb and index. It's a nice motion to get, or a nice combination to use thumb and index. It's very practical for a lot of stuff and a lot of practicing. So I'm gonna start the same process as the one with the pick. So we'll start with the 6th string. 1, 2, ready, 6th string is 1, 2. Now I'm gonna use all thumb on this one. 5, now 4, now 3, now 2, now 1, then back to 2, now to 3, back to 4, now to 5, now to 6, 1, now index, half notes, 1, 2, 4, half notes, 3, 2, 1, 2. And you can always look at the strings too. It's sort of a good idea to look at them as you play them. Now here's the quarter notes. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now 4, 1, 2. 3rd string. 2nd string. 1. These are demanding because it's on the beat. 5, Now the 8th note, 6th string, 1 and 2 and 3. Hopefully it's not too fast. 3, 1. Second 1 and 2 and 3. Then 1. Back to 2. 3. 4, 1 and 2 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 2, 5, 6, 7. Stop. Okay, so that's basically the note values going up and down just with the open strings. It's really an important, it's challenging. It's not as easy as lots of people feel, because you're really allowing, only in this case, if you're using the pick, it's just the motion of the pick, making the motion and using that wrist motion where you're in control. Same thing with the pick, even though I'm not using, when I'm using the fingers, I still have the same motion. I'm having the break of the wrist or the little arch, and it's just fingers moving. You don't want this. You don't want the hands to be strumming. You want it to be where it's just fingers moving. And if it's gonna be the pick, then it's just the pick moving. Okay, hopefully this makes sense. It does take a practice. I might have taken a little bit too fast, sorry. But this is really important foundation stuff. Once you get a feel for where everything is, we call it muscle memory too. So muscle memory is one of those things where once that wrist, the hands, the fingers figure out where everything else, it's pretty natural. You know, it's just a repetitive motor reflex, so some people call it that also. So hopefully this helps you going. I'll have more open string stuff for next lesson. And if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to go ahead and comment me on this. And I'll help you as much as I can. And remember to subscribe, like, and hit that bell. Alrighty, thank you so much.